Because all I can remember is him being 12 years old in the backyard, throwing and I'm explaining to him what he has to do. And at the time, when he was 12 and he told me he wanted to be a major league player, I said, well, that's how we're going to work at it.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Life of Dad Show. Here in the Life of Dad Show, we talk with athletes, actors, entrepreneurs, CEOs, musicians, entertainers who've all made a name for themselves, but the one thing that is most important to them is being a dad. For this week's Life of Dad Show Rewind, I'm going to be showcasing my interview I did with Ken Griffey Sr. A lot of cool tidbits of fatherhood, talked about his book that he was promoting at the time, but a lot of other great things, and one truly awesome father and son moment that I don't think anybody else can claim between him and his son, Ken Griffey Jr. You're going to hear that in a second. All right, so let's get into it. Here's my interview with Ken Griffey Sr. Hey everybody, it's Art Eddy for the Life of Dad Show, and on the line I'm so happy to have and honored to have Ken Griffey Sr. on the line, and you can get his book in stores right now and also online. We'll have links for it. It's The Big Red Baseball, Fatherhood, My Life in the Big Red Machine. It's out now, like I said. Thanks for taking the time, Ken. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, hanging in there.
Like I said, man, it's a real honor to talk to you. I'm digging this book, man. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, I've been thinking about it for the last 10 years, but actually when I got out of baseball and just knowing the fact that me and Junior, and it hadn't ever happened before, that, it's something different, something new, where we got a chance to play together and hit back-to-back home runs, and then all the things happened to me in the Big Red Machine and in New York. And, I decided to hopefully put it down on paper to see what happens, how it comes out.
Like I said, I love reading the book. And were there certain topics, I'm going to get to something in a second, but were there certain topics that you wanted to make sure that you definitely had in this book?
Well, the topics with the Big Red Machine, for one, and the topics with the Yankees about, because a lot of people really don't understand why Junior wouldn't play for the Yankees, and that was one of the reasons why I put things in the book about that. So those are things, just little tidbits and stuff, and then, my relationship with George Foster, how well we got along after his first year being set down from the big leagues to AAA. So it was just a lot of things that was involved, and I figured that, like I said, I just hope people enjoy reading the book.
Yeah, man. Even if you're not a baseball fan, it's very interesting. I love reading your story. And one of the things that I liked reading was right in the beginning when you were talking about the transition from high school and possibly going to college or going to work to help out your family. I mean, there were different ways, especially going to Marshall and all that with the path your life could have taken. Reading that was amazing. It just seems like everything kind of clicked for you and worked out for you to get into baseball, right?
Well, it did, and it was a strange scenario because I had an opportunity to go to a few colleges on a football scholarship and a couple of them on basketball scholarship, but not very many baseball scholarships because we didn't play that much baseball in terms of high school in Pennsylvania because of the weather.
Yeah.
So it was a situation where I had to, make up my mind, try to help the family. Like I said, my mother raised 5 boys and 1 girl by herself, so it was a burden on it. It was tough, and so I had the opportunity to do that. And I decided, well, I better make money as soon as possible and try to help her out as much as possible. Even though I couldn't do that much for $500 a month, but I figured if I worked hard enough, and eventually, I'll be able to help her.
Just shows your hard work and determination, the values that you had kind of even before baseball. It was just really cool to see. I like how a journey begins, and that was really illuminating for me to read in the book. So it was really cool to read that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and obviously the book focuses on baseball, and you've had so many great moments in your career. Won the World Series twice. You won the MVP award for the All-Star Game, and like you kind of mentioned, and I'm going to get to a little bit later, you played with your son, obviously Ken Griffey Jr. Is there one moment that kind of stands above the rest?
Well, there's a few moments, really, but the one probably I think was probably, that stood out more so, the opportunity to get to play with Junior.
Yeah.
And we went out on the field together August 31st, 1990.
Yeah.
And like I said, the scenario for me to get to Seattle after I had retired and went through the whole thing, and Bill White called and told me to sit still, don't move, and because the thing was, if you retire, you have to wait 60 days before you can be reinstated.
Yep.
And the the biggest difference was that this was all at the end of August. We only had 30 more days before the season was over, and everyone was talking about, well, Tim McCarver had mentioned it on television, that, that would be a story and a half if he had a chance to go play with his son, and that's when he mentioned the fact that I had to wait 60 days. And that's when Bill White called about an hour later, and he said, hey, what happened? I told him what happened. And he said, I'll call you back. And when he called me back, he said, call Mark Schott and thank her because you're on your way up to Seattle. And like I said, getting the opportunity to play with Junior was the highlight of my career.
Yeah. I mean, I love there are certain things, the way you put in the book about you're in the outfield together and you kind of look over and like, man, that kid's got some potential. Like, wait a minute, that's my son. That's just heartwarming. I totally I get goosebumps when I hear that, man. And one of the things I also get goosebumps is I knew it before reading this book, but reading it from your perspective and just watching the video over and over again, when you and your son hit back-to-back home runs in 1990, take me back to that moment, and what do you remember from that?
Oh, I remember, Harold being on first base, Harold Reynolds.
Yeah.
And I hit a home run to left center field. So I'm rounding third, heading for home, and the first one's going to meet me is him. And I'm looking into his eyes, and I see the difference in transition. I mean, I know his concentration was sky high.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, and then, after he gave me a high five and he went, got the batter's box, Harold Reynolds and I were talking as we were walking back to the dugout, and Harold said, if he hits this home run, it'll be the first time father and son ever did it. And I didn't think of it that way. But Harold, I guess, and him and Junior had been talking about it, and that's what happened. When he hit that home run, when it went to 3-0, I didn't think he was going to have a chance.
Yeah.
And he hit a fastball or a sinker going away, hit it out of left field over Dante Bichette. I said, you got to be kidding. But it was an amazing night for both of us, really. I mean, when he hit home plate, he was looking for me the whole time and grinning. I mean, he was grinning from ear to ear. And that was a fun time when he was just grinning at me and gave me a big hug. I said, oh my God, he did it. And all the pressure was on him.
Yeah.
And he was the stud. He was the man that was the player.
Yeah. Growing up watching you guys play, and then obviously I remember having a couple of his baseball cards growing up, and he had that iconic swing, and he had, like you said, the smile, man, and everyone called him the kid, and it was fun to see him. So for you as a parent, it's great to see your kids succeed in something not only that you love but they love as well, right?
Yeah, it's always great. Well, to even watch it, that was the biggest thing. Get a thrill that it was like that goosebumps on myself. To watch him, how well he played, and what kind of player he was, and how he developed. Because all I can remember is him being 12 years old in the backyard throwing, and I'm explaining to him what he has to do. And at the time, when he was 12, and he told me he wanted to be a major league player, I said, well, this is how we're going to work at it. So we worked at it.
Nice. So can we credit you for the beautiful swing?
Well, I mean, most of it. But, like I said, the thing was, I told him as he got older, I said, when you get older, you're gonna do some changes. You're gonna make some changes.
Yeah.
And I knew when he got about 6'2", 6'3", and I know he can hit the ball at any part of the ballpark. I said, well, he'll probably stand up. He'll start doing a little different things, experimenting, because he knows he can hit it out of left field just as well as right field. And as he got older and he started playing a little more, now he developed that little swagger at the top, where he's wiggling the bat and everything else. And I said, well, he's got his own little style now.
Yeah. So,
because he used to emulate me when he was in high school, he tried to hit like I did. I was kind of crouched over, I wasn't the type that's going to hit very many home runs. I was going to hit the ball around, use the whole field. And he can use the whole field, but he can drive it out of the whole field. But he stood up, and that's when he started making a big change. Nice.
And before we get to father, just a couple more questions for you. For baseball, was there a team or a player that you got pumped up to play against the most during your career?
I got pumped up against every team. It didn't make any team, no player, nothing like that. It was just the idea that, just getting the chance to play baseball, and being competitive. That was the most important to me. It didn't matter, I was very competitive, but, I didn't care who I was playing against.
Yeah.
Even though I did a lot of research on certain pitchers or whatever, like a Tom Seaver or Steve Carlton or those guys, but at the same time, I was just happy to play.
Yeah. Nice. A question that kind of focuses on now, with the game today, instant replays being added, are you a fan of that, or what's your take on that?
Well, I'm still old school, I guess.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I like the idea where if there's a mistake made by the umpire, say for an out call or something of that nature, you know, let it stick. I mean, because the game is human. You know, when you start adding all the instant replays and all that stuff in it, now it makes it a little more mechanical, a little longer, because now you have to stop the game, decide on what's going on, if it's fair, foul, and all that. And, you know, years ago they would tell us we got to speed the game up. It's too slow.
Yeah.
But now they tell you, you know, you can't. In the minor leagues, it's funny because you can't get out the box if you break your bat, or the bat slips out your hand or something. You can't get out the box to get pine tar or anything. So It's a little strange.
Gotcha, man. And now switching to fatherhood, what are some of the morals that you look to instill in your children as they were growing up?
Well, I always the biggest thing I always ask them, do you know right from wrong? You know, and Junior and Craig, I always had that answer. My daughter, yes, I know right from wrong. So I said, well, and the other thing was a quote probably from the Bible that do unto others as you have them do unto you. And I just wanted them to understand that, you know, if you do things that are bad, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah.
But if you do the right thing, that'll come back to you twofold. So just do the right thing and everything else, and then you won't have to worry about anything coming back on you later on in life.
Nice, man. Well said. And for the new dads listening to the show right now, do you have any advice for them out there and what to look out for, or what to maybe not support the small stuff on certain things?
Well, the biggest thing that, you know, I was a fan of was the fact that when you have young kids, let them play. Let them enjoy the game as a game.
Okay.
Because I've seen so many parents get into fights and all kind of argue and holler and screaming at their kids and stuff, and they're pushing them. You know, just let them play. I mean, if they're young kids between 7 to 15 years old, let them play, let them enjoy the game. And then you'll find out as they enjoy the game more, they will get better and they'll want to play the game.
Well said, man. And lastly, for you, you have some grandchildren. What is the best part about being a grandfather?
Just having them around me. Just enjoy being around them. You know, I can teach them, I can show them stuff. I got one that's 7 years old. His name is Makai, and he lives with an amazing little guy. You know, very intelligent, but he's funny, and you know, we have a lot of fun together. And he's very competitive too. You know, but I let him play. I let him go out there and play. He plays basketball. He plays baseball. His biggest sport right now is baseball. He's pretty good at swinging the bat right now.
Nice.
So he looks like a little Prince Fielder right now from the right side. So, but it's fun to just sit and watch him. I'm trying to get my son, my grandson Nate, Craig's son, into the game so he can start enjoying himself. He's a sophomore in high school, and I really got to start working with him.
Nice, man. Ken, thanks so much for taking the time, man. I appreciate you talking about the book, your career, your great career, and about fatherhood. People, make sure you check out Big Red, Baseball, Fatherhood, and My Life, and the Big Red Machine. It's out now in stores. We'll have links. Ken, again, continued success with everything you're doing, and I appreciate the time.
I appreciate you giving me a call. Thank you very much.
All right, you take care.
All right, you too.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening to the Life of Dad show. You know where to find us, lifeofdad.com, and on Twitter and Facebook.